Hey everyone, so good to see you. So glad to do crafting things with you. This episode is really all about what we can do with pine cones. And so I foraged some in the fall, which is a much better time to do that. It's kind of a cold day. But I'm out looking for some today. And if you can see, let's see if you can see this, there's a ton on this tree. Pine cones come in all different shapes and sizes, and so I'm really just going to be looking around and see what I can find, and hopefully we'll get some good things that we can craft with. Okay, because it's icy and snowy, some of these are kind of cold. We're going to do some, these are really unique though. I have not found these with the little spikes coming out. I don't know what we'll do with them, but we're gonna do something fun. Anyway, we're gonna clean these, and because of the cold and the moisture, they're really closed up tight. But when I do my cleaning, and you can see, you know, that's sap. Whoa, that's a big bunch of sap. Once it warms up, it's gonna be sticky. So we're gonna talk about how to really clean those, prepare them for your crafts, and we're gonna have some fun. So here is an example of, or a small sampling of the foraging I've done throughout the fall and most recently today. And now I'm really gonna prep them so we can make some crafts with them. And I know when we were outside, I kind of showed you that, you know, all that white, that is sap. It's fine when we're outside because it's cold, but as it warms up, that will loosen up and become sticky. And here's a great example of one. All of this is sap. The pine needles have stuck to it. And so to really be able to craft with this well, we're gonna need to deal with that. It's very sticky. So I'm about to put these in a hot water bath with about a cup of vinegar. And I have a lot of pine cones that I'm gonna treat. But I'm gonna let them soak in that warm water and cup of vinegar for about 30 minutes before we do the next bit. The water will close them up. It will make them really tight and close. This just came from the snow. That's nice and closed. And there's a bunch of sap. So the water will close them even more than they are. But then we're gonna put them in the oven. That'll open them up. Whatever sap didn't get loose will kind of glaze over, and then these will be ready to use. So I have a sink full of warm water. I'm going to add my cup of vinegar. Maybe more would be good, I'm not sure. And I am just gonna soak these in here. Oh, lots of stickiness. And they'll just sit here for about half an hour. See how dirty they are. You know, these have been outside. Our little bug friends have been hanging out with them. Maybe I'll shake them a little bit more. I do have a brush that I can kind of get in there, really try to clean them up with. But as soon as you put that in, things start to just fall out of it. So this is a really important step. So as you can see, look at all that sap. When I was picking them up, my fingers got real nasty. And we don't want to have to craft like that. My mom made pine cone wreaths when I was a kid. She took mostly this style of pine cone, wrapped wire around them and put them on a wire frame. And I don't know how because she never cleaned them. I don't know how she did that. Maybe they are less sappy than some of these other ones. But we're going to use a lot of different kinds, and you know, this is going to be a really inexpensive craft because I just went to a park and picked up, and some of these came from my yard as well. picked up pine cones that I saw sitting under trees. I certainly did not diminish the supply. And I tell you, when you do this in your kitchen, with the warm water, it releases this really nice foresty smell in your kitchen. So we're gonna let this soak for about 30 minutes. And we're gonna put them in the oven. So these have been soaking maybe about 15 minutes. And you can already see how tightly they're starting to close. That was much more open. Even these big ones, as I was putting them in, they were quite open. So that's why we do the next step, which is the oven, because I really want these to be nice and open. And you can see how the water has kind of changed colors too. I think that has to do a lot with the sap. Now, if you want, you can really kind of brush some of that off. See if that brush will help. But when they go, that's sticky. When they go to get these guys ready for the oven, I've set the temperature at 275, and they are going to be in there for an hour or two. I will take them out about halfway through and flip them, turn them around. Right now I'm just putting them on a paper towel to get rid of some of the extra wetness. Might rinse just a little bit. But then they're going on cookie sheets, and I've lined my cookie sheets with parchment. I don't really know what's going to come out of these and how gooey they're going to get. So to protect my parchment, or protect my cookie sheets, which I use all the time, that's what I'm going to do. You can see they're just so tight now. I also think I may have ruined my favorite brush. So if you're going to do this, know that the sap, I may not get it off the brush, so just be cautious. And if you got some junky cleaning things that you don't mind getting dirty, maybe use those. So I'm about to put them into the oven, and you can see how dried them off a little bit, how tight they are. So it'll be really interesting to see how that changes. And this could be really, really a fun project, despite whatever craft you end up doing. So I have all of these. I've got one more batch soaking. These will be. Look at that, so neat. That's starting to open up again. I'm just gonna spin them around. So cool seeing how they kind of open, frill up. They've all come out of the oven. This is a long process. I started putting these guys in the oven probably at least 3 hours ago. And I had to really watch them. Of course, I was doing several different kinds, several different densities, thicknesses. These took a lot longer, and this was the last one I took out. It's probably not quite as open as I wanted it to be, but it had to be enough, because here's that nice glazed look I talked about. It's not sticky anymore. That is the sap, but it's just got a really shiny sheen to it. It's not sticky. I did, and I was watching them. However, you can burn a pine cone, and I had a tray that was getting a little overly done, had a little smoke going on, had to take the smoke alarm down, and had to throw a couple away just because I think they got a little too hot. I was pleased to see these closed up really tightly, but they opened up nicely. So now, if there was any critters living in them, that's been taken care of. The sap's been dealt with, and we can really do some fun crafts with these. So it took me some time, but it did not cost me anything other than my time. So just watch them. If you're gonna do this, really pay attention, low heat, and you know, keep looking, keep turning, and there they are. So I've chosen 3 pine cones that I think will really look good as I try to transform them into some cute little animals. I plan to make an owl and a cute little sheep and a little piggy. My grandson loves birds, my mother loves sheep, and the pig is just really cute. So we'll see how that goes. Some will require some painting, some will require some cotton. So I have pulled out a segment of freezer paper. I've used this before with y'all. The back side of the paper is really shiny. It's got just a little bit of wax, kind of cool iron. Press it lightly on your felt, and then it makes it much easier to cut out the pieces. So I like to use it. Some people don't have a problem just, you know, cutting felt. I have a hard time really following a good line, keeping that line rigid and straight as I'm cutting. And so freezer paper has been it's just been really great for me. So I've done some drawing. The other thing I like about freezer paper is I can just label, like, this is the sheep's head and I want that in black. This is the pig's face and I want that in pink. So I can kind of keep track what it is I'm doing right around the paper, because I'm not going to cut this at the edge. I'll just cut that section off and actually iron that whole section onto a piece of freezer paper and then cut around it. It allows the paper or the felt to just be a little more stiff. So we're gonna put the finishing touches on our cute little sheep, and we just need to put his face on. Just decide how your pine cone sits the best, and then you're just gonna add the face to the front. Now with all this gluing, I used just a craft glue, and I could do that again, but I think my hot glue is hot, so I'm gonna do that quickly. I think the craft glue would do just as well. You might have to hold it down just a little bit longer. Oh, so cute. Oh, that's so adorable. And then we'll add our little piggy face. This is super fun. So and there's so many other options and ideas. I'm sure you all can come up with something that I haven't even considered. So here we have a little collection of animals. This cost close to nothing. I already had cotton balls in the house. There was some paint in the house, and I just mixed some red and white. And I also had just scraps of felt. So all this really cost me was some time. I hope you find a way to do some foraging, find some cool pine cones, and do some great things with it. Thanks for crafting with me.